I guess just impressions from your first 2 practices here.
Yeah, after 3 days, what I have really appreciated is just our effort. The effort is the price of admission around here. And I'm really enjoyed watching our guys go out there and give the maximum effort as much as possible. There's always areas to improve upon in everything that we're preaching to our guys, but they've really bought into really everything that we're trying to emphasize as not only a defensive unit, but more importantly as an entire program. And you can see all the work that these guys have put in over the course of the summertime with Coach Loco and his staff, and they're really trying to make sure that comes to fruition for them on each and every day. But it always starts with our effort, and our guys have really done a good job in that area so far.
Also, talent is important, and Coach Choate said that this is a faster, longer, better-looking team. I guess, what do you just feel about the roster that you have on the defensive side of the ball now that the roster is solidified for 2025?
No, I'm excited. I'm very excited about just the depth that we could potentially have as we continue to go through this fall camp. And that's a big area that we as coaches, every time you come in the fall camp, you want to make sure that you start to develop that depth. And I think we've got the numbers and the bodies and the talent. It's just a matter of us as coaches figuring out how to continue to develop the right guys, to put the pieces in the right places. And a lot of that as the coordinator, that's my responsibility, and all of our position coaches to help me in that regard, to make sure that not only we have talent, but we make use of that talent in the best way possible.
Having gone through last year and then getting ready for this year, I guess how similar do you envision your scheme being, and how much are you tweaking it to try and get the best results possible?
Yeah, so every year you make sure that you go and self-scout and try and tweak and fix the things that didn't go so well the year before, and then try and improve in some of the areas that you did well. You still want to find ways to improve those, right? And then you always got to make sure that, hey, every year is a new year. Offenses are going to have different ways that they're going to try and attack you based on what they're seeing. And so you want to be one step ahead of that as much as you possibly can. And so as a coaching staff, I thought we did a really good job over the course of the offseason of making sure that we did the proper self-scout, made the adjustments we need to make. And now with the scheme that we've got in mind, start to put the pieces to that scheme, start to make sure that the players fit the scheme as well and not vice versa, right? That's one thing that you cannot do as a defensive staff, and really in football in general, is try and make sure that you're fitting your players to your scheme. You want to make sure that the players' talents and abilities come out in your scheme and they make your scheme, and not vice versa.
With just one starter back, I guess, how solidified would you say is the depth chart, or how much will there be battles won before you guys get to that first week of preparation for Penn State?
Yeah, I think every position's up for battle. That's especially when we're only in day 3 right now. So there's nothing solidified. There's nothing set in stone. We have to go out there, and every guy has to have that sense of urgency every single day to make sure he's his best version. Because if he's not, we want that competition to just keep pushing them and pushing them and pushing them. Iron sharpens iron. And if we don't have the right mindset as far as going out there and I've got this job, I'm good, I'm satisfied, that's not how you approach anything in life. And so we would be doing our guys a disservice if we gave them that mentality. So, and again, I love where our guys are at in that regard. There's not one guy out there that's out there thinking that he's above the program or he's got his job already settled.
You guys did do a lot of good things last year. If there was one maybe bad thing, it was last and third down defense.
Yeah.
What do you think was the biggest factor in that? And then you guys have to clean up to be better on that.
Yeah, first and foremost, myself as a coordinator, I've got to make sure that I've got the right, as we talked about, the right scheme. And that was a big emphasis as far as the off-season and self-scout. And, okay, what scheme can we execute at a high rate when it comes to those third downs in order for us to get off the field? And then it is going to come down to, all right, personnel. How can we again get the best 11 on the field in those situations, put them in the right spot, and then make sure that we execute regardless of what the offense is trying to do. It's a crucial point of emphasis for us as not only a defense but our entire team as far as those third down conversions.
I would imagine the sacks and takeaway numbers were not where you wanted them either. I guess how do you balance that aggressiveness and being able to get those havoc plays versus also not giving up the big play?
Yeah, 100%. That is always the balance act, right? You want to make sure that you are calculated enough to take the risk when you need to as far as bringing an extra number here or there to try and create some TFLs and some sacks and some big plays, but not do it at the expense of explosive plays on the other side of the ball. So I've got to do a good job as a coordinator of making sure that I prepare our guys, and they know offensive tendencies, and in turn, not only that, but they know our scheme so well that they can be the coaches out there, and they're comfortable with what's going on, so they can play fast, they can play loose and free, because that's what's going to end up making those big plays is our guys just playing fast, playing physical, and getting to the ball. You can't get the ball out or create takeaways if you don't get to the ball.
What were you looking for in the recruiting process and the transfer portal when it comes to the back end? Because you guys lost a lot of guys back there.
Yeah, obviously when you lose guys, that the amount of experience that we lost and the quality of players, you got all Mountain West guys, you got draft picks that leave the room. You want to make sure you replace that with, first and foremost, the right guys from the standpoint of personality, culture fits, who they are as men and as people first, and then you got to look at the film and make sure that their skill set can fill in the gaps that we lost based on the guys that either graduated or moved on. And so that's always with, no matter if it's the transfer portal, no matter if it's the high school freshman classes that we're looking for, it always starts with personality, the person, the man, and the family, the foundation they come from. Do they fit our culture? Do they fit our locker room? And then, all right, what's the skill set that they have, and can that skill set match with what we're looking for?
What do you like about the transfer safety from Sac State?
I'd say, man, what I love about him is that he's been all about Nevada football. He's been all about the Wolfpack, his teammates. That's been the first thing that he's done from the jump, is establish himself as he's going to come in here and work and show how he can help this team and this program. And then, all right, now let's continue to try and make sure that the defense is the best defense that it possibly can be. So he's been all about the Wolfpack football and the Wolfpack family, and that's what's been so fun about him.
Have you seen him kind of elevate the younger guys? I believe 6-year player.
Yeah, and that's another thing that he's been so great for is he's got a lot of experience, and he understands the process and what it takes to be successful at the college level. So in turn, he's kind of taken these younger guys under his wing and showed them the ropes a little bit in that regard. And that's huge. It is absolutely going to benefit us for not just this year, but years to come.
What do you think about the depth of the linebacker room? I know Cho was mentioning Harnito and Combs specifically, but wanting to get deeper and faster at that position.
Yeah, and I think we've done that with the guys that we've added to the program. And it's going to be a fun, you talk about the competition as far as position group is concerned, that's going to be a fun group to watch, because we've got a really good group that's talented, that's fast, that's physical, we're longer, and they've really bought into the scheme and what we're trying to do from a technique and fundamental standpoint. Coach Nico and Coach RC are doing a really good job with developing that group, and we've got some young guys that are fun to watch as well. These guys are hungry, and they've come here and they're trying to learn from the older guys and pick it up as quick as they can. So if there's a battle or a competition or a group to watch at the fall camp, that's a really good group to watch, just from the standpoint of how talented and how deep that group could be.
Coach Cho kind of shook up a number of different coaches. They're still here, but maybe in a different role. How comfortable are you feeling in year 2 as a DC?
Yeah, the more you're around each other as a staff, no different than the more you're around each other as players within the locker room, you start to build chemistry and you start to build trust. And I think as a staff, we grew from year 1. And we knew coming in here that all of us coming from the different places that we were coming from, that, hey, it may take a year for us to mesh and gel and grow and become the group that we are. No different than when we bring players into a locker room and we work to grow and develop them. We as a staff have worked to grow and develop, and the continuity within the staff is huge. And no matter if roles change or people move positions, they're still the same people. And in turn, you grow and learn how each other work and operate. And so you see the chemistry and the trust that we've developed over the course of this year.
If you can take the off season and then the first 3 days of camp, what's a name that maybe fans don't know about now, but we could see expect to see something course of the season?
I'm going to refrain from throwing out names just yet, and just out of respect for everybody else. But there are at every level of our defense, first level, second level, and third level, there's going to be some guys from each one of those rooms that are going to all of a sudden flash for us over the course of these fall camp weeks. But then as we get into the season, you're going to see some young guys that are going to flash for fans out there alike, and it's going to be fun to watch. And so, like I said, I'm not going to throw out any names just yet, but there are some young guys within this program, or some newcomers within this program, that fans out there who haven't yet seen or don't necessarily know their names. As we progress through fall camp and into the first couple games of the season, they're going to start going, whoa, who's that guy?
Coach Choden mentioned, I believe, this team is more disciplined than last year. I mean, what have you seen from that perspective, and how do you think that can pay dividends on the field?
Yeah, discipline is for us as a defense. That has been an emphasis that we've had since the end of the game against UNLV last year. We knew as a staff that our discipline had to improve in order for us to take the step that we wanted to step, as not only as a defensive unit but as an entire program. And so that has been an overarching theme for us. And it's everything that we do. And it's not just on the football field. It's when the strength and conditioning program over the course of the winter. It's in the academic programs. It's in everything that we do. We emphasize the small little details and being disciplined in those details. If you can't line up and not have your toes behind the line, we can't expect you to execute a play on any given third down in crucial situations, right? So that discipline in turn creates the trust that we all want, and that's going to help lead to flipping some of those, 6 games of 1 touchdown or less. And so we're a firm believer that discipline is going to pay off for us. But we can't rest on our laurels. We can't feel like, we've arrived in the discipline category. We got to keep hammering it over the course of these however many weeks and all the way through the season.
How much further ahead do you feel like you are at this point as a DC versus last year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel very good about, in comparison, fall camp day 3 to year 2 fall camp day 3. And that's the way it should be, right? But at the same time, that's not necessarily guaranteed. And we've worked really hard as a staff to make sure that coming into this fall camp, we were that much better off in feeling that farther ahead from not only from the standpoint scheme and things of that nature, but more importantly to the thing you just hit on as far as the discipline, the accountability, all the little things that eventually develop into big things for us.
You guys added a pair of guys on the edges, the transfers that came in after spring ball. I guess why was that important to go out and get a little bit more depth there too? Yeah. No, we feel like really every level you always want to have depth, right? But within our scheme and defensively speaking, that the edge of your defense, if you don't have an edge, it's going to be hard to be successful as a defense. And so those 2 edge defenders are very important to what we do defensively speaking. And so we've got to add people that we feel can be those players that we're asking them to be. And at that position, we're asking a lot of those guys. And it's a tough skill set to have. And so in turn, we had to go out and make sure we found the right guys and see how they have developed over the course of winter, spring, summer, and now the first 3 days of fall camp.
Coach has talked a lot about Jonathan Maldonado and how much better he's gotten during the offseason. I guess what have you seen from him that might put him in line for a breakout season?
Just, again, the smallest of details, the discipline, the showing up and attacking everything that he does with that same mentality that he attacks a pass rush on third down. And that's where John is grown the most in my eyes is he's fundamentally more sound. He's understands and knows from within the scheme where he needs to be. And now he's trying to execute all the little details and master his position one day at a time. And there's still plenty of growth for him. He knows that, but I've loved the way that he's attacked this thing over the first 3 days practice-wise. But now we just got to make sure that we don't settle and that we feel like he's arrived or anything along those lines. He's still got plenty of work that he can do, and he knows that, and I'm fired up for him to put that on display every day.
How would you describe the challenge that awaits you guys in your season opener at Penn State?
Well, it'll be pretty simple when all the preseason rankings come out and they end up being whatever, top 1, 2, 3, all probably top 5, obviously. So they're a tremendous offense. They do a lot of good things from a standpoint of how they attack defenses. Their offensive coordinators has been very creative in the ways in which he gets his playmakers the football, and they've got a lot of playmakers on that side of the ball. And so in turn, we know the challenges that they're going to bring, but we know we also have however many days of preparation, and in turn, we're going to go out there and cut it loose and have some fun.
You are a captain of the Wolfpack. What does that mean to you?
It's very special to me. I've been here all my college career, and then I'm going on my last year, and it felt really good to have the team select me and the players vote for me to be a team captain, and it meant the world to me. And it's just, I love this place, I bleed this place, I never want to leave, so I just enjoyed it a lot, and it made me feel really good, and I'm glad the team believed in me.
You're one of the few guys on this team that was here toward the end of the J. Norvell era, where you are one of the better teams in the Mountain West. I guess, what's it going to take to put Nevada in that spot in your last year here?
Yeah, I think Norvell, he was a very positive coach in the way of he brought a lot of unity in the team, a lot of those guys. I was a young freshman, but everybody brought me in when I was here, and I think that that was something that he instilled in the team, and I think Choate does that really well. I don't want to compare, be like if Choate's better, Norvell's better, but I think Choate's done a great job at that and bringing unity. And I think this team, I'm over here talking to freshmen all the time, like they're my best buddies, and I'm like, I was already in college when they were in middle school, so it gets kind of crazy sometimes. But yeah, I think he's brought a lot of unity to this team. A lot of everybody cares for each other. Everybody wants to be there for one another and push each other. I think the leaders of the team do a good job at not putting themselves on too high of a pedestal, and not taking correction from even younger guys, because they know what they're doing, and if they call us out, we'll listen, and we try to appreciate it and put our ego to the side. But yeah, it's
a lot of FCS guys joined the offensive line this offseason. I guess, what can you tell us about them, and maybe how important it is that they've played college football? Maybe not at the FBS level, but they've got like 1,000 snaps under their belts.
Yeah. Zach, Jack, Hadeen, we brought in some good guys. Trent's done really good. I know he was over there at Texas State. He's done a great job. I think all the guys, Coach Armstrong and Coach Lynch have brought in, and obviously Coach Choate, I think they've done a great job at bringing guys with good attitudes, good work ethic, who know how to play football. Sometimes a lot of new transfers come in and they've played at bigger schools, but they've never actually played on the field in a game. So I think these guys bring a lot of experience at different levels. FCS football is a different beast in the way of how offenses run, and they have a lot larger playbooks a lot of times. So it's cool to see those guys have a good grasp in football and understanding of how the game goes. And yeah, I think all four of those guys have been amazing, and the freshmen have been awesome too. So.
Yeah. One of your running backs, Herschel Turner, I guess, what have you noticed about him? What do you like about blocking for him?
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. He's a lot of fun. He's always over there pumping up the O-line and the other running backs. I would say that for all the running backs. I think they do a great job. But Hirsch has done an amazing job. He's working hard, did amazing over the spring, and so far in the short fall camp we've had so far, he's done great and over the summer. But yeah, I think Coach Masher is doing a great job in that running back room and pushing those guys. I walk out there for practice, and they're always the first ones out there working and getting a sweat in. So it's cool to see those guys work.
You've probably done like 500-600 practices at Nevada during your career. I guess, what gets you excited having to go to another one?
Yeah. I think there's something about the Reno skies. The weather is always crazy. The unions always have a thing of being tough and being out there even when it's snowing. We're out there in our short sleeve shirts and everything, and I think there's something about the weather out here, the heat. We get all four seasons. The guys, we don't always have the nicest stuff in the Mountain West, but we're grateful for what we have, and we work for what we're getting. And I think Coach Choate and Stephanie Remp has done a great job at improving this program and pushing us to the next level. And I'm excited to see how it keeps going. But yeah, I can't. Nothing can beat going out there to the practice field, going to Mackey or Wolfpack Park, and just, giving it your all. So,
how would you describe the makeup of the offensive line room as a whole, especially losing a guy like Isaiah World?
Yeah, Isaiah World was, that's my best friend. I still talk to him every day. Tough losing him, but I think the guys have rallied together and done a great job in pushing. Josh Grabowski he's one of the guys that have been around for a while too. He's basically been here with me my whole college career as well. I think everybody's rallying, working hard. I think our unity in the O-line room is as good as it's ever been, and I've had some really close O-line groups since I've been here. I think we always have one of the most fun groups on the team, and we mess around with each other, have a good time. But yeah, I think the unity's been really good, and the understanding of one another, and not just the game, but off the field, and trying to hang out and have a good time together. So.
Seems like you spoke about the unity in the O-line room, but it just seems like your teammates, said at media days how much more connected this group is as a whole. What do you think has been the common denominator in this group?
Yeah.
Much tighter together.
I think it's one of Coach Choate and all the coaches when they're out there recruiting. I think one of their big things they look for is character, and how guys are, what they are, how their family life is, how they work through school, how they do everything, and how you do anything is how you do everything. So I think they did a great job at not only recruiting guys with really good character, but also putting us in situations where we had to learn how to work together. And I had a coach back in high school always tell me, your best friends, the best guys you're gonna, enjoy in your life are the guys you struggle with. And he's put us in those spots to struggle and to fight through it and to laugh and have a good time. We went on an 11-mile hike over the summer, and that was tough, but guys were having a good time. And I think Coach Choate also puts us in a lot of times to just have a good time. We did barbecues over the summer, just hanging out, talking and mixing with DBs and O-linemen and all the guys that don't normally hang out. So I think Coach Choate has done an amazing job at bringing guys together and making sure that not only is he bringing guys in, but he's making the guys that are here kind of accept them, and then guys are just embracing that ability to accept new guys in. But
in today's era too, it would have been easy to just put your name in the portal and leave. So why did you want to stay here and finish your career?
Yeah, I kind of just I really love it out here. Everybody thinks about it. In this day and age, everybody thinks about leaving the school they're at or whatever. And obviously, I'd be lying if I said I never did. But I always got pulled back to how much I love the guys here, how much I love the program, what it means. I've spent a lot of time talking to Coach Alt, and I hear a lot of great stories about this university, and I got to see it. And the schedule hasn't, or our wins and losses hasn't always reflected how I felt about this program, but I just kind of felt that I was in the spot where I started here. They gave me the shot. They let me sign the paper to come here. I might as well use my 5 years and stay here and enjoy what I got. So
Chubba, we got to talk to yesterday. I guess, what do you think he can show people if he can stay healthy this whole season?
Yeah, he's a fast dude. He can move. He can throw the ball. He's a great leader. Very, very smart. He's very good at getting behind the O-line and pushing us to do better. And same with the running backs and the other quarterbacks in the room. I think he's somebody people look at for guidance and to push them farther. And I think that's why he got voted to be a captain. And I think he deserves it. Great guy, and I love Chubba. I can't wait to see how he does this season. And yeah.
You mentioned Isaiah being your best friend. I know he was on an ESPN first-round mock draft. I guess, what did that make you feel?
Oh, that made me feel. I mean, I've known World since he came in. We came in here together, and when I see that stuff, it makes me really happy, and it makes me see him and all the hard work he's put in over his years, and all the people that have doubted him or said things to him, and just see what he was able to do with all the doubters. And we might not be here together. He might have left, but I always have love for him and always want to see the best for him, and can't wait to rep his jersey when he's in the NFL and see how well he does. But yeah, it's great to see that people are realizing how great of a player he is. And I mean, his work ethic is unmatched. Nobody can match his work. It's honestly insane. I'm convinced he's not a normal person in the way of how hard he works. But yeah, it's just exciting.
Do you have an example of that where you were like, he did something that you just opened your eyes?
Yeah. I've seen him run a play the wrong way, completely miss the guy. The guy's 3 yards ahead of him, and somehow he catches up to them and blocks him. Or we'll have a super hard summer workout where everybody's laying on the ground after trying to catch their breath, and then 15 minutes later he's up there running sprints up the hills. So no matter what, he was always going to push himself. He was always going to bring guys with him, and always going to make sure people were having a good time. So I'm sure he's doing that over at Oregon, and I'm very happy for him.
You seem to care a lot about the legacy of the name Nevada football. I guess if you could share anything you've talked with Coach Alt about and what it would mean to restore some pride in this program, just because it hasn't necessarily been where you guys have wanted.
Yeah. I think, I'd keep a lot of our conversations, between us, but I think something, he always pushes is the legacy. the university and how, you know, a lot of people look down on us, a lot of people don't believe in us, but, you know, through it all, we just got to keep working and do what we can do and push just to get better every day and to do our 111th. And, you know, he's very inspirational. Just watching his career, I mean, he retired from coaching and had a Hall of Fame coaching career, then came back and had another Hall of Fame coaching career. So he's got a lot of wisdom nuggets he gives me all the time. And, you know, just seeing him around the field during practice and just stopping by, it's good to see him. And, you know, it's awesome to see him on these Nevada football commercials he's posting too. Those are always awesome. So, but yeah, he's a very inspirational. And, you know, I think seeing his career and seeing how he always, you know, stayed loyal to this program is something very commendable too. That's something that I always try to stick with. When I went in high school, I was the same. It was a big deal for us to stay very loyal to the program, and I think I just carried that off to college. And, you know, a lot of opportunities when you have 3 different head coaches to be like, all right, I'm going to leave, but I want to just stick it out here and be with my boys. So.
All right, year number 6, probably like 500-600 practices under your belt. I guess what's motivating you when you go out to Wolfpack Park these days?
I'm just having fun with my guys and having fun with my friends and playing a little bit of football. That's my motivation.
And what are your thoughts just on the roster and group of guys that you have entering this season?
Man, we got a lot of hard workers, man, and it's really exciting to see.
Being a captain after coming here as a walk-on, when you heard that you were one of the 4 captains of this team, what were the feelings that filled you?
I felt really honored. Really honored that I was selected to be a captain. This is my 6th year. I feel like that was something that I always had kind of in my mind that I wanted to do, was become a leader on this team. And it's nice to finally, you know, reap the benefit of all my hard work.
And to you, what has leadership mean, and how are you trying to display that to the other guys?
Yeah, I just got to set the example for what the guys have to do and make sure that we uphold our standard every day.
And I know they've talked a lot about the discipline on this team getting better, partially because players are holding each other accountable. Is that a difficult process, you know, talking to one of your peers and, you know, making sure they're holding that standard, or is that just something that has to be done?
Well, it really starts with your connection with your friends, you know. Like, I can't just go up to some guy who I have no, you know, personal relationship with and just go attack him, you know. You know, it starts with the relationship between you and him, and then you know how to react with a guy if a guy needs to be yelled at or if a guy needs to be rocked with us. Yeah.
You're the only returning starter on the defense. I guess just, you know, what are your thoughts on some of the jobs that are available to be won and maybe the competitiveness you're going to see in fall camp to win those jobs?
Yeah, exactly. It's about, you know, who shows up and who's competitive and who does their job the right way, and they'll earn their spot. And I think that's just kind of the standard that we feel like on our defense.
You did add a couple of edge rushers during the post-spring period. What can you tell us about Sam and Miles and just what they might bring to your guys' defensive line?
Yeah, Miles, we haven't seen a whole lot of him yet, but, you know, he comes to our meetings and brings a great vibe, and he's always positive. And then Sam's a cool guy, man. I really like him. He's electric, and he's a hard worker.
I know Cho's talked a lot about how John Maldonado's gotten a lot better this offseason. I guess, what is his potential? I mean, it seems like the athleticism, the length, the height.
Yeah.
It's all there. What's it going to take to get a breakthrough season?
Guy could be one hell of a player, and he's smart to do it. He's an athlete, and I'm excited to see what he does this season.
How personal are you guys taking just generating more of a pass rush this year than last year?
Yeah, I think this year there's a big emphasis on it, but also we're really on the same page. We're meeting as a unit. This year versus last year, we're kind of separated, and so that really helps with the continuity when it comes to our games and our pass rush.
Can you just describe personnel-wise the entire D-line room, top to bottom?
Well, I guess top to bottom, well, you would have like Dylan Lavabera, quiet, hardworking guy. Me, I would say I'm the voice. We got Nelson, he's kind of my backup on whenever I need help with something, and then John Maldonado, just freak athlete. And a pretty exciting group of guys, honestly.
What would you say would be, you know, a couple things that you feel like you guys really need to work on these next couple weeks ahead of the season opener, just in your group in particular?
Yeah, I think that we just can't get bored with the monotony of fall camp. It's a long process. We have to stay locked in and treat every day the same and show up every day to work.
You guys get to open against Penn State. I guess what's that going to feel like playing in front of 110,000?
Very exciting. You know, it's going to be a cool atmosphere and a cool team to play against.
So you haven't played a snap for Nevada, but you're a captain in Nevada. I guess what
Yes,
did that
sir.
mean to you when you heard that?
It meant a lot because, you know, just to earn the trust of the guys on the team, to lead this team, you know, it's a blessing. So, you know, just very blessed. to be in this position.
We were talking with Coach Ioane, and he talked about how much like the Nevada across your chest means to you. Can
Yes,
you
sir.
just walk us through why that is so important?
Yeah, it just means a lot because these coaches took a chance on me, and I love the community of Nevada. Just being in the community since I've been here, all the people, it's a lot of good people out here. So, it just means it's more than football at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So, just playing for that Nevada across my chest means a lot. So for sure.
As the captain, you're going to be counted on to be a leader. How would you describe leadership in the way you try and show that to your teammates?
Yeah, so I'm really like a lead by example first guy, but I'm more of a if something needs to be said, I'm gonna say it. But I know the coaches want me to step up more in that manner. So like today, I don't know if you guys saw, but I tried to be very vocal today. So just continuing to get better on and off the field. With that stuff, so.
I know a lot of people look at Nevada's coming back roster and they're like, oh, the entire secondary is gone. It's not going to be good. I guess what would be your counter to why this secondary is going to be better than people anticipate?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of good dudes in this group. I think we're very deep. We got A.J. Odoms at corner. You got me. You got Bishop Turner. Playing beside Bishop Turner, makes my job a lot easier for sure. And then you got Ed, and then you got the new guys like. I'm sorry, I'm cramping. Oh my God.
Oh no.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, but yeah, but yeah, we got a lot of. I think we got a very well-rounded room all together. So I think we're gonna make a lot of noise this year for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned all these guys who have played a lot, but they just haven't played together. So
Yes,
what's
sir.
going to be the key to making sure that when you guys start the season, you guys are one unit, having never really played snaps together as a group?
I think the most important thing is, just communicating on the field together. And we're all older guys, mostly older guys too. So a lot of guys have played a lot of college football. So it should be easy just to, adapt to all the new challenges. So for sure.
But just how important is that? I feel like having older guys, knowing what it's like to adapt quickly, especially in this situation when you don't have a lot of time together.
Yeah.
for the first game.
Well, I think it's very important because you got a lot of younger guys in the room also, and they looking at us. I feel like as long as we hold the standard of how everything's supposed to be ran, they're gonna follow, and then when we leave here, they're gonna be able to do the same thing when they step up. So I think it's very important.
A couple of your teammates said at Media Day that finish, that's a key word for you guys. I even
Yes,
heard it
ma'am.
out on the field today. I guess could you explain a little bit, why that's such an important key word?
Yeah, I think it's very important because there's a lot of times where you're up in the game, teams might get comfortable, and it's important for us as a team to finish strong. We got to start fast and finish strong. That's our motto as a defense or as a whole team. So I think that's the key points right there.
Is that a motto you guys came up with or coach inspired?
I mean, it just naturally happened. I think all across college football, that's like the main thing. So start fast, finish strong, for sure.
Can you walk us through your decision to leave Sac State?
Yeah, honestly, just a better opportunity to display my talent on a bigger stage. Sac State, I was blessed for the opportunity to be there, but I feel like it was needed for me to go to better opportunities. So yeah, that's really was it.
If you can compare the FCS level to what you've seen so far through a handful of practices, albeit not a game, can you compare the two for us?
Honestly, FCS has a lot of dogs. I mean, there's a lot of guys that go unnoticed because it's FCS. But to me, the skill position it's pretty similar. Guys might be a little faster, but you just got to adjust. And then O-line obviously is a big point. O-line, D-line, the trenches. So for sure.
Home opener, obviously against the Hornets. You looking forward to that one?
Oh yeah, for sure, most definitely. I'm gonna have a lot of family there, a lot of family ties. Like you guys said, my cousin is the safety coach at Sac State too, so I'm looking forward to it.
What was it like telling him you were leaving?
So he got the job after I hit the portal, and he tried to get me to come back, but I told him, no, I don't want to. I wanted to, be in an uncomfortable situation, challenge myself for my last season. So I thought Nevada was the best place for me.
A lot of buzz for that program, though. I guess
For
what
sure.
you've seen from afar, I'm sure that's pretty cool, even though you're not a part of the team anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a good season. They got a lot of good players coming in, but I'm just focused on what we got going on here at Nevada. So.
One of your former teammates came here with you, I think Kenion.
Yeah, Kane.
Yeah, what can you tell us about him?
Dog. Like he does the dirty work. I can say that. Like he's always going to be physical. They call him Bam, so look out for him. He's going to be making a lot of plays.
Your first FBS game is going to be in front of 107,000 people at Penn State. I guess what are you most looking forward to, that opportunity?
Just the opportunity itself. I mean, it's a big stage. I just got to go out there, do what the coaches just follow the game plan, and the plays will come. I'm not really people. It's a big game. People might be frantic about everything, but me, I'm just coming in, looking at it as a great opportunity for me and my family.
You've gotten some preseason accolades, so Wolfpack fans who have seen that but haven't seen you play, how would you describe your game to them?
Playmaker. I would just say playmaker. I'm gonna always be around the ball. I'm a leader on the field. I'm more of a, more like there's a lot of DBs that are more fast and more athletic. Me, like I take a lot of pride in my preparation, film study. So, we already been watching film on them for a couple months now. So, I feel like that's what separates me for sure.
Since you're wearing the Kobe shorts, what is your all-time NBA starting five?
All-time starting NBA starting five. I'll go Steph Curry at the 1. Got to go Bay Area. At the 2, I'll go Kobe. At the 3, Jordan. At the 4, I'm going to go KD. And at the 5, I'm going to go Shaq.
No LeBron.
LeBron, he's a great player for us, but, I'm going to stick who I'm going to mess with. So.
He can come off the bench for you?
Yeah, for sure. He'll be the 6th man.
What did you like so much about Kobe?
Just his determination. I kind of model my everything I do kind of how he did. I feel like just his doggedness was really drove me to him. Growing up. I remember watching the 2010 NBA Finals, and ever since then I've been a Kobe fan. So for sure.